Another Joe Budden podcast topic dealing with Dr. Mark Lamont Hill. You know, a lot of people call him a champagne socialist. And when they discussed Dr. Mark Lamont Hill being a champagne socialist on JBP After Hours, one of the hosts, Juicy, she was saying the people who were making the argument of champagne socialists, of Dr. Mark Lamar Hill being a champagne socialist, it was not in good faith. Me personally, to Juicy and to the people who are making the argument of Dr. Mark Lamar Hill being a champagne socialist, I'm going to tell you, it's not that the argument is not in good faith. I just believe the argument is wrong, and it's a ignorant argument. And I'm saying this from the stance of being in the business that I've been in for the last 13 years. I've worked in a money vault, right? And me working in a money vault, I have come across people who ask me questions about money to where I thoroughly know that people's concept of money and how much money is and how far money goes spending wise, especially here in the US or in first world countries, how much money is, people just are ignorant to the fact, right? And they just don't know the difference between $1 million and $1 billion. And to first start off this conversation, I want to play this clip that I came across at one point in time because I need to establish people's understanding of the biggest difference between what a million is and a billion is. So let's go to this clip so we can get an understanding.
The difference between a million and a billion, because I think in America we just kind of like, we don't even think about it. You know, right. You just hear it and you're like, billion, oh, he must be a billionaire. You know, I'm sure someone, Joe Rogan dude's got to be a fucking billionaire, dude. Here's the difference that people don't realize. A million seconds is how many days? Would you guess? A million seconds.
I've done this before and I always forget it.
Do you know?
A million seconds.
A million seconds.
30 days.
That's a great guess. Okay.
Is it?
It's 11 days. That's good.
Oh.
Most people are fucking way off. So it's 11 days.
I just took a chance.
Yeah, that's good. A million seconds is 11 days. How many days is a billion seconds?
How many?
31 years.
Jesus.
The difference between a million and a billion, because I think in America we just...
All right, so if a person had $1 million and they counted each dollar per second, it'd take them 11 days. If a person had $1 billion and they counted each dollar per second, it'd take them 31 years. That's a big difference. Now, I'm going to say, I don't know how much Dr. Mark Lamont Hill is worth, but let's put him at $30 million, right? If by the math, if his net worth was $30 million and he counted a dollar per second, it would take him 330 days, less than a year, to count all his money, right? A billionaire will still have another 30 years to count his money. The champagne socialist argument is not a bad faith argument. It's a bad argument. And like I said, where the bad faith comes in to me is ignorance. People just don't know how much $1 billion really is. Now, I want to start by saying we live here in America where things cost, right? We understand the price of gas is going up right now, the price of groceries. If you want to rock name brands, you want to drive nice cars, we all understand the value of what America places in the dollar, right? And as the 99%, just to make ends meet, we are working 2-3 jobs, and we are dedicated to 2 vacations a year. We are dedicated to working 70-80 hours a week. We are dedicated to two income households. We are so much in the struggle of it that when we see people who may make $1 million off of a particular talent, we see people who make millions of dollars off of a particular skill set, we think they're living this beautiful life. We think they're living this grandiose life. And to us, it is. You know what I'm saying? To be able to put your kids in private school where they got MacBook laptops that they can take home every day, and they don't have 30 kids in the class, and you could have Rolexes, and you drive Lamborghinis, you drive Porsches, you drive high-end BMWs, you might have Maybachs, you're able to take trips 3-4 times a year to the south of France, to China, to the Bahamas. And we looking at these people through Instagram and through television, and we're seeing that the life they live may not be as stressful as the 99%. We start thinking that it's equivalent to somebody who makes billions of dollars, right? It's not the same. As you see in the clip, it's nowhere near the same. And like I said to you, somebody who has a $30 million net worth still has 30 years of counting that they can't do because a billionaire is just that much beyond them. Now, my argument, I don't believe in Dr. Mark Lamont Hill's argument, right? Far as nobody should be a billionaire. I believe that whatever allows you to make billions, you should be able to make billions, right? And the reason I believe that is because I don't believe in fiat currency. I believe in it far as I spend it, I use it. But just the concept of fiat currency is one that is made up. Let's keep it simple. A person in America who makes $1 million can take that same $1 million and transfer it to pesos, like I think whatever Dominican Republic money is, right? It might be pesos or whatever. But I know Dominican Republic, our dollar is greater than whatever's in Dominican Republic, right? That $1 million will make you a billionaire in the Dominican currency, right? Are you now a part of this underworld where you had to step on so many people and take advantage of so many people? I don't think so. You could have made your money by selling shirts, like I said, having a talent, having a business, having a couple different businesses, to where now your American money, when you exchange it to Dominican pesos, you're a billionaire. And now you're living in Dominican Republic with the largest mansion and whatever. You get what I'm saying? And girls at your feet, at your beck and call. But the same $1 million American money, if you take it to Europe, where the euro is at this point more than the dollar, and that million may garner you 750,000, and now you're not even a millionaire. Now you're not the same bad guy. You see what I'm saying? Now, $1 billion in American money is a lot of money. And when you transfer it to, like I said, euros or yen or pounds or whatever that may be equivalent or even greater at this particular moment, because the exchange rate or whatever. I'm not here to discuss all that. Does it mean that you're more or less part of the system or whatever? Now, does Dr. Mark Lamont Hill make a good point far as like there are certain constructs, especially within capitalism, that do take advantage of people? Yes. But when you're placing the value of your argument on a dollar amount, which is just agreed upon of that society, like the value of that dollar is just agreed upon, that dollar is a dollar, or that dollar can, or $100, this is what you can buy with a $100 bill. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, fiat currency, especially American money, right? American dollar used to be backed by gold, where somewhere with the 60s or 70s, the president at the time, they took it off the gold standard and they just started printing money. See what I'm saying? And at that time, when you take it off the gold standard and you just printing money, is that dollar, what is that paper really worth? You get what I'm saying? And like I said, once you start going through the exchange rates and exchanging it in different other people's native currency, how much is that dollar worth? My argument, or the better argument, would be about resources, not a dollar amount. Dr. Mark Lamont Hill is very much way more read than me, way more research than me, and all of the things, right? But I am aware of certain things. A better argument versus a dollar amount, which he does make, is just resources. His argument shouldn't just place the value of his argument on a dollar amount. It should just be resources. People who have a certain amount of tangible resources, whether it be things of items that you can touch, or people in position who are in charge of certain items you can touch, or influences on other people in countries. Meaning, if I have a resource in Homeland Security, American Homeland Security, and when I reach out to this person, they could grant me access to certain things that may take advantage of other people. Let's say I want oil from Europe and I'm living in America. I hit my resources at Homeland Security to now I have an army of people that I can go invade this country and take their resources. See what I'm saying? That's a resource of mine I can use to take advantage of people. Now, when I take their oil, I can now sell it to other people and make money, right? If I was in charge of steel and I had steel, people can come to me because they want to build skyscrapers, they want to build houses, they want to build cars, they want to build whatever they want to build. But my allotment of steel kind of controls the economy. See what I'm saying? No money involved, just my resource controls how everybody else moves. I have that abundance of resources. Now, my influence on who gets it, when they get it, how they get it, how much they get, is on me. Now I can put certain people in position of power, because if I now give them some of my resources, like the barter system. If I give them some steel, they give me some oil. Now, if I'm in the Western Hemisphere, I can control everybody in the Western Hemisphere because they got to come for me for steel and oil. But when I give my man some steel for the oil he gave me, right now he got steel and oil, and he's in the Eastern Hemisphere, so he can control that. And then it trickles down to whoever we want to put in the positions of power to have. Not that it's just me and him thing. It's just who's ever in charge of resources. Like us as a conglomerate could be together, and we all decide who are the players and who can't play in this world. That's the argument. Now, let's reel it back. Now back to Dr. Mark Lamont Hill. If he made a better argument, then people could not focus on money, right? People shouldn't focus on the money aspect of, oh, you have 4 businesses, you drive a Lamborghini or Porsche, or you have 2 Rolexes. Not that they would be any more ignorant to how much that big of a gap is, but just the argument wouldn't be based on what he's accumulated within this society. It would be based on, it would be like, hey, I don't think Mark has the influence or the actual tangible resources that matter in the positioning that will even make him, that we will even equate him to the Bill Gates and the Jeff Bezos and the Saudi princesses who own oil and steel and all of that. Get what I'm saying? I may have skipped this part, but let me bring it back. The cost of living in America is high, right? We all know that just on a 99% level. Going to the grocery store, going to get gas, rent, phone bills, car insurance, life insurance, daycares, mortgages, groceries, all of the things, right? Going to the movies. You can add it up. The cost of just living a 9-to-5, stress-filled, check-to-check life. We look at these people who are millionaires and who are maybe what we perceive to be a more stressless life. And like I said, their kids can go to private schools. They could go on 4 or 5 vacations. They ain't worry about a grocery bill. Like I heard I heard Gilbert Arenas say, like when he goes grocery shopping, he spends like $30,000 at a time, right? A lot of us may only spend $80, $100, $200 at a time. You know what I'm saying? We're not buying $30,000 worth of groceries. We looking at these people spend this exorbitant amount of money on what we think is the fabulous life. But it really is not a fabulous life. It's really a good life. Millionaires do not live. I want to say this in a way that people understand it and it doesn't turn people off. Millionaires are able to live a life that everybody is supposed to live. The 99% is so used to the hustle and bustle of life, we think it is normal. We think it is healthy. It is not healthy. The food we eat, the food choices, and the lifestyle, and the non-sleep, and we use different vices to just get by the day, whether it's smoking, drinking, partying, whatever. We think we live in this cool life because we not necessarily homeless, but millionaires are able to live a life that everybody should, in a sense, in the perfect world, live. A stress-free to a degree, right? Because a lot of millionaires, especially entertainers, are still check to check. They still gotta go sell out a show to get money, and they still gotta go do a podcast to get money, whatever it is. I'm just saying. A millionaire is living a life that should technically be the baseline of how everybody lives. This 99% in the hustle and bustle and worry about how you gonna pay your rent, and can I pay my rent, or do I gotta rob Peter to pay Paul, and the car broke down and now I can't pay my rent because the car broke down, but I gotta pay my rent because I need somewhere to live. So now I gotta ride the bus, or now I gotta rely on my brother and sister to take me to school or to work or get the kids to school. It's a lot. That's not the life we supposed to live. You see what I'm saying? Those stresses aren't the it's not supposed to be the norm. A millionaire sending your kid to a good school, send them off to school with a good meal. You don't have to worry about groceries. You don't have to worry about robbing Peter to pay Paul. All of these things. So when Marc Lamont Hill treats himself to a Porsche, 2 Rolexes, because he has businesses that garner him money. He's doing speaking engagements, and I'm saying that because we all hear Marc get on the podcast and say, you know what, I got to do a certain amount of speaking engagements because I got $30,000 a month in bills that I got to fit for family members and myself. I got like school tuition, and I'm taking care of my parents' house, my brothers and sisters and their kids, and whatever, all of the things, right? He feels like, oh, I got to take a certain amount of speaking engagements to make sure all of the people I'm in charge of, or I feel like I'm in charge of taking care of, is taken care of. You know what I'm saying? He's still on his hustle and bustle. And he makes millions. So yes, when he puts his kid in private school and he's driving his nice car, those may be just his releases to be like, all right, let me treat myself to something good. Or I've worked so hard and I do have this money. I can have my family live in a certain life of comfortability. But that don't mean he's close to billionaire status. I'm talking about somebody like a Jay-Z who can have $100 million in watches. And y'all talking about somebody who owns 2 Rolexes. I'm not saying he only owns 2 Rolexes, but that was just the argument. It's not the same. It's not a bad faith argument. We just need to educate ourselves on how much money is real money. Chris Rock said a joke before. Shaq is rich. The owner that signs his checks is wealthy. If he says Oprah is rich, and this is when she was a billionaire at the time, like 1 billion up, right? When she first made a billionaire or whatever, he said this. He said, if Bill Gates woke up with Oprah's money, he'll kill himself. That's how big of a difference this is. Talking about 2 billionaires. Jeff Bezos, if he woke up with goddamn Marc Lamont Hill money, he'll kill himself. Calling back to Chris Rock. Jeff Bezos is 150 billion up. And that's with him giving money to his ex-wife in a divorce. Get what I'm saying? We really got to understand the difference of money when we start having these conversations. Champagne socialists, to even be considered a champagne socialist, the person you are describing has to literally be 700 million up. Like a person who's 100 million up is not even a champagne socialist. You get what I'm saying? Now, can a person who's 100 million up enter a system where they take advantage of people like the capitalist system and they're denouncing billionaires? Could you still look at them in a certain way? Yeah, but a champagne socialist, it's just too much of a disparity. In all reality, it would have to be like Jay-Z or Oprah. Like they're a billion up and they're denouncing capitalism. See what I'm saying? Jay-Z, if he had the stance of Marc Lamont Hill, you can call him a champagne socialist. But Marc Lamont Hill, he's just nowhere in the ballpark. He's really living, like I said, he's really just living a life, a baseline of a life that we should all be living. Think about it. When we make $100,000, we don't see a lump sum of $100,000. It's broken down to every 2 weeks, every week, 1st and 15th, whenever you get paid. You're getting a check for, say, $3,000, right? Gross. You seeing the taxes come out. You seeing you gotta pay rent. You seeing healthcare come out. You may have child support coming out. You may have alimony coming out. You gotta pay groceries. You gotta pay for after school. You gotta pay for daycare. You got to pay your card note. You got to pay your phone bills. You got to pay your kids' phone bills. You paying for cable. You paying for water. You paying for lights. You doing all of this thing. When you see the number in your bank account after your payday, after that weekend of you paying bills, you might see $300 that you got to just spend on yourself and spend how you want to spend, right? Out of a $3,000 gross check. And I'm saying if you just paying, or if you getting paid twice a month, you paying all your bills on one check, and then the second check, you kind of could do what you want. If that's savings or whatever, or most people got to split it, whatever. I'm saying that because it goes into conditioning to why we look at millionaires how we do. That conditioning of not ever actually seeing a lot of money in our accounts, we start looking at these millionaires like, oh my God, they are living these grandiose life. No, they just living a life we supposed to live, a relaxed life, a non-stressful life. With that being said, I wish all y'all the best. I wish all y'all happiness. I wish all y'all understanding. I hope y'all enjoy my conversation. I hope y'all understand what's coming from the mind of a madman. Thank you. I'm out.